What if the most beautiful part of your garden was made from trash? Not store-bought, not fancy, just plastic bags turned into pure magic. This is Archon Aesthetic Studio, and today we'll show you 15+ garden ideas that'll change how you see waste forever. Timestamps are in the description. Jump where you like. Questions? Drop them below. And if this sparks something in you, go create. Use what you have. Start now. Maybe I'm just a face on your screen, but this is real. It's a dream, a family, and a hope. Every like, every comment, every sub, it keeps us going. When you subscribe, you're not just supporting content. You're helping someone keep believing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for seeing us. One, woven grace garden edging. In a world where garden borders are often overlooked, here lies a quiet revolution, stitched together from the most unexpected material, trash bags. But this isn't about waste. It's about wonder. In one corner of the yard, a flower bed wraps tenderly around the base of a tree. It's not edged with concrete or stone, but with vibrant ropes braided from reused plastic. Pink, turquoise, lemon yellow, a soft candy swirl of color, circling kale, petunias, and pansies. At the center, a sign says, "Made with heart," and you believe it. Because it's not just a garden. It's a gesture, a story of hands and time and care woven into every twist. A little further along, the tones cool, white, soft blue, deep navy, winding like a calm river around a tidy herb bed. Rosemary, thyme, a few shy sprigs of basil rise from dark soil, flanked by smooth stones and gently arched braids. The bags used here might have once carried groceries or mail. Now, they cradle life. The sunlight doesn't judge the origin of the material. It just reflects its texture, its honesty, its rebirth. And then, a splash of primary joy, red, white, bright sky blue, outlines another garden bed where marigolds burn like miniature suns against a backdrop of lavender. The braids aren't perfect. That's what makes them beautiful. You can tell someone sat with them, shaping each twist and knot with intention. This isn't store-bought symmetry. This is personality, playfulness, proof that DIY isn't just about saving money. It's about putting your soul into soil. What makes these edging ideas magical isn't the color or even the creativity. It's the fact that they feel real, tangible, achievable. You look at them and think, I could do that. I could make something small, but filled with heart. And suddenly, a simple garden edge becomes something much more. A reminder that beauty often grows from what we choose not to throw away. Two, WhisperFence, upcycled privacy screens. Sometimes, the most surprising beauty doesn't come from what we buy, but from what we almost threw away. In corners of quiet gardens, where laughter echoes and stories settle in the breeze, creativity blossoms in forms we often overlook. Who would have thought that simple plastic trash bags, once destined for the bin, could whisper life back into tired fences and dull walls? In the hush of an afternoon courtyard, a fence becomes a canvas. Earth-toned plastic strips, repurposed, hand-cut, and woven, bend into a chevron dance that feels as natural as the herbs growing just beneath it. Lavender leans in, rosemary stands tall, and the sun flickers gently on textures that were never meant to shine. But they do, now. Not because they're perfect, but because they're honest. And that honesty, in a garden, feels like peace. Elsewhere, as the day fades and the lights begin to glow, a small wooden frame cradles panels of woven rust and cinnamon, each one handmade from discarded packaging and grocery bags. They're not hidden. They are celebrated. Strings of golden light dangle above, casting flickers across frayed edges and soft curls. A few planters gather below, succulents, rosemary, soil still warm from the sun. It's not just a screen. It's a story, a quiet rebellion against waste, a tribute to care, a moment paused in the middle of the evening. And then, there's color. Bursts of pink, turquoise, lemon yellow, patchworked into bright little tapestries clipped along a white picket fence. They don't match. They don't need to. They laugh in the wind, rustling like bunting at a garden fair. Wildflowers bloom beneath with the same joyful abandon. And nearby, a round table waits for coffee, for paintbrushes, for a friend. It's not about perfection. It's about play. The kind of beauty that reminds you why we build things by hand. These woven wonders don't ask for much. Just time. Just care. Just the willingness to see possibility where others might see garbage. And in return, they offer charm, privacy, color, and soul, all from something no one wanted anymore. That's the magic of gardens. They teach us to grow, not just plants, but hope, braided, stitched, or woven gently across our fences. You don't need to be a designer. You just need to start. Begin with what you have. Let the materials guide you. Let the imperfections stay. Because what grows from your hands will always feel more alive than anything you could have bought in a store. Let your fence tell a story, not just of protection, but of transformation. Three, Twilight Tassel Pergola. Beneath the bright stretch of midday sun, a garden corner transforms into a cheerful retreat, woven not with fabric or metal, but with heart and imagination. Who would have thought that something as ordinary as plastic bags, once discarded and forgotten, could rise again to flutter with joy and color? In the first scene, tassels in vibrant hues, coral, turquoise, lemon yellow, lavender, sway gently in layers above a cozy patio. Strung across a pergola like garlands of celebration, these hand-cut, hand-tied decorations form a canopy so alive it almost seems to hum. Below it, a woven rug catches the shadows, and terracotta pots cradle red geraniums in full bloom. Chairs with soft cushions invite conversation, iced tea, stories. This is not just a decorative space, it's a declaration of warmth. The kind that says, I made this with joy, and I made it for you. Then, as the light softens into a cooler afternoon hue, we enter a quieter garden setting where pastel tones reign. Baby blue, mint green, and blush pink tassels drift in the breeze above a rustic table. Daisies and hydrangeas sit in ceramic pitchers, each bloom like a whisper of summer. The scene is delicate, like something out of a storybook, yet entirely possible to recreate in your own backyard. All it takes is a gentle hand, a bit of patience, and a few bags no longer needed. Tie, loop, string, repeat. The result is something tender and ethereal, a soft celebration in still air. And finally, just before dusk, we meet a quieter elegance. Here, under the golden hour glow, sage green, soft beige, and muted grey tassels dangle in gentle rhythm. Ivy curls around the beams, while white blossoms gather like clouds along the garden edge. A single wicker chair waits beneath it all, bathed in slanted sunlight. This moment feels like a pause in time, a place to breathe, to reflect, to feel grounded in beauty that doesn't need to shout to be seen. It's humble, it's handcrafted, and above all, it's real. These tassels do more than decorate. They tell stories of resourcefulness, of care, of the quiet magic that happens when you take what might be thrown away and instead hang it like poetry from the sky. Four FauxBoo garden poles. In a quiet corner of the garden, where zinnias dance in the wind and marigolds greet the morning with bright faces, something unexpected rises from the earth. At first glance, these vertical stalks may resemble bamboo, but their story is one of transformation and imagination. What once crinkled and cluttered as discarded plastic bags has now become graceful garden poles, rolled tightly into tall faux bamboo. Their smooth texture glimmers softly in the light, a poetic reminder that waste can become wonder with just a little vision. The colors, shades of mossy green, woodland brown, and pale gold, echo the natural world they mimic. Yet, unlike true bamboo, these structures carry a whisper of human ingenuity. They stand sturdy among the flowers, nestled between pots of rosemary and thyme, not only bringing height and rhythm to the flower bed but also telling a quiet story of renewal. These poles don't simply support or divide. They uplift, both literally and in spirit. Further along the patio, these faux bamboo rods stretch in a neat row, creating a gentle screen that doesn't overpower, but rather complements the lush greenery that surrounds it. The sun dances through the slits between them, casting dappled shadows that shift with the breeze. A bench rests nearby, inviting pause. Here, the simplicity of upcycled design meets the serenity of a shaded nook, and together they create a place of quiet retreat. There's elegance in the vertical repetition, a sense of order in nature's wildness. In the most whimsical corner, where daisies mingle with cosmos and nasturtiums spill over in fiery bloom, the bamboo rises like a fairy-tale forest. Between the poles, moss clings playfully and tiny floral sprouts peek out as if nature itself decided to decorate. Around the base, stone frogs grin and a fairy statue sits in daydream. It's a small scene, yet rich with charm. Morning sunlight filters in, illuminating every petal and shimmer of green plastic, transforming recycled material into something delightfully alive. If you've ever thought your garden needed something more, not grand, but meaningful, perhaps the answer lies in what you've already thrown away. A plastic bag, once a symbol of clutter, can become a column of beauty. These garden poles don't ask for perfection. Their value is in the care that forms them, the hands that wrap and shape, the imagination that sees beyond the obvious. And maybe that's the quiet revolution of garden craft, to create something lovely from what's unloved, and in doing so, remind ourselves that growth often begins with second chances. 5. Rustic Farmwrap planters. In a quiet corner of the garden, where sunlight filters through leaves and the air carries the scent of blooming flowers, creativity finds its home. Here, the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, and discarded materials breathe new life into the landscape. Imagine a rustic wooden table on a sun-dappled porch, adorned with terracotta pots wrapped in woven covers crafted from beige and white plastic bags. These covers, resembling the texture of aged linen, cradle thriving herbs, basil, thyme, and rosemary, each leaf basking in the gentle warmth of midday light. Nearby, a straw hat hangs casually, and wildflowers sway in the breeze, evoking a sense of handmade, cottagecore charm. In another nook, a cozy patio corner reveals large clay planters dressed in farmhouse-style covers made from layered recycled plastic bags. Tied with twine and adorned with rustic folds, these planters cradle daisies, sunflowers, and mint. A vintage watering can rest beside them, while a wooden crate and soft green ivy complete the scene, offering a realistic, down-to-earth ambience. On a quiet porch, planter pots wrapped in soft white and pale brown covers made from upcycled plastic bags stand gracefully. The covers drape naturally, resembling weathered fabric, as lavender and pansies peek over the top. Golden light filters through the leaves, casting a warm glow over the handmade, intimate setting, a forgotten countryside memory brought back to life with simple materials. These scenes are not just about aesthetics. They are a testament to the power of creativity and sustainability. By repurposing plastic bags into garden elements, we not only reduce waste but also infuse our spaces with personal touches that tell a story. Each woven cover, each tied twine, speaks of care, intention, and the joy of breathing new life into the old. As you consider your own garden, think of the possibilities that lie in the materials around you. With a bit of imagination and effort, you can transform the mundane into the magical, creating spaces that are not only beautiful but also meaningful. Let your garden be a canvas for your creativity, a place where every element reflects your unique touch and love for the environment. Six. Seascape Bag Waves. In a quiet garden where petals sway and time seems to slow, an unexpected tide rises, not from the ocean, but from the hands of imagination. Waves of rich sapphire, sea green, and oceanic blue curl and crest as if caught in mid-motion, sculpted not from water, but from the humble folds of recycled plastic bags. This is not a dream. It is a seascape, entirely handmade, where every swirl tells a story of creativity over consumption. Imagine, in the corner of your own backyard, a small coastal haven. The first scene calls to mind the mighty yet gentle embrace of the sea. Here, the waves are tall and proud, their ridges highlighted by the morning sun, casting translucent glows like ocean foam. Soft white shells scatter at their feet, nestled into gravel and framed by pastel blooms that lean in like curious onlookers. What once may have lined grocery store bins has now found new life. Bold, sweeping, sculptural life. Elsewhere in the garden, a miniature marine world unfolds with playful whimsy. Gentle curves of plastic mimic the tide's rhythm, rising between pops of coral, driftwood, and pale sand. Starfish rest like ancient guardians. Framed by daisies, this scene feels almost whispered, like the sea slipped in overnight to leave behind its echo in a garden bed. And finally, against a raised planter box, waves march in a rhythmic line like a lullaby for the earth. They're wrapped in shades of deep turquoise and azure, their tips crowned with delicate white crests, suggesting motion in stillness. A tiny lighthouse watches over, casting no beam but a sense of serenity. Around the waves, succulents thrive, tough, vibrant, and grounded, echoing the story of these waves, strength shaped by purpose. If you're wondering how this magic was made, the answer is surprisingly simple. The raw material, plastic bags, cut, layered, shaped, and coaxed into beauty. Twisting them gently, binding with biodegradable glue or wire, and anchoring with garden stones or pebbles transforms what was once waste into weatherproof sculpture. Add a bit of marine-themed decor, shells from travels past or forgotten beach souvenirs, and your garden becomes a coastal retreat, no passport required. These creations do more than decorate. They remind us that art doesn't demand perfection or rare tools. It asks only for a willingness to look differently at the world, to see the crest of a wave in a crumpled plastic sheet, the heart of the ocean in your own backyard. Sometimes, the tide you need is not the one that takes you away, but the one you build with your own hands, wave by wave, bag by bag. Seven, gazebo curtains with color strips. Tucked into the quiet corners of summer gardens, where bees hum like old lullabies and daisies lean toward the sun, is a gentle revelation. One that flutters with every breeze and brings new life to forgotten materials. What if I told you the pastel curtains swaying gracefully in these gazebos were born not from fabric rolls, but from common plastic bags? It's true. These soft-hued strips, rose, cloud white, sky blue, once lived mundane lives as grocery bags or packaging waste. But in creative hands, they've been reborn as elegant curtains, weaving through wooden frames and pergolas, dancing freely under the open sky. They bring movement to still gardens, like waves of color painted by the wind. In the heart of one garden stands a charming gazebo wrapped in cascading layers of upcycled curtain panels. The effect is that of a dreamy hideaway, a retreat stitched together with intention and love. Beneath, a weathered bench invites pause, its floral cushions echoing the soft palette above. Surrounding daisies nod in approval, as if whispering secrets to the breeze. Elsewhere, plastic ribbons stretch across a wooden frame, not in straight perfection, but with playful asymmetry, like laughter in material form. Each color, from mint to lilac to sandy beige, tells its own story, casting delicate shadows that move with time. Beneath this canopy, tea is served in mismatched china, and conversations linger longer, enriched by the soft rustle of makeshift silk overhead. And in a field touched by the golden hush of evening, another gazebo opens its wooden arms. From its beams, recycled strips of plastic ripple like prayer flags, catching light in a way that feels both sacred and ordinary. The scene is imperfectly lovely. Wild grass brushes bare ankles, and the chairs around the table carry the wear of many seasons. Yet here, in the embrace of repurposed beauty, every element feels right. What makes these curtain creations more than decoration is their soul. They remind us that beauty doesn't demand perfection or expense, only intention. A roll of discarded plastic, a pair of scissors, a moment of patience, that's all it takes. And once hung, these curtains do more than shade. They transform space. They offer softness where there was once sharpness, privacy without walls, color without chemicals. If you're yearning to soften your garden, to add something whimsical and healing, start here. Cut old plastic bags into ribbons. Tie them, layer them, braid them if you must. Let them blow freely and become part of your garden's breath. You may find, as many have, that creating something beautiful with your own hands isn't just art, it's restoration. Of space, of self, and of what we too often throw away. Let your garden whisper with color. Let your curtains sing with movement. And let the breeze carry away everything you didn't know you could reuse. Eight, hanging flower baskets with bag liners. In a quiet garden corner where sunlight spills softly through leaves, something unexpected shimmers with life. A chorus of flowers dancing in upcycled homes made from what once was trash. Yes, you're seeing it right. These gorgeous garden baskets, lined with plastic bags, aren't just an aesthetic choice. They're a tender rebellion against waste, transformed into joy. One might think beauty and reuse don't often intertwine, but here, they bloom side by side. From the pergola, baskets sway gently in the breeze, their translucent liners, once shopping bags, now glimmering softly like morning dew. Golden marigolds and bright pink petunias spill over the edges, mingling with the vines that curl and trail freely, as though grateful to be part of this second life. Beneath a nearby tree, a simpler, fairy-tale moment unfurls. Wire baskets hang like ornaments, catching the sunlight between the branches. Inside them, calendula and pansies glow with color, nestled securely within crinkled white liners. The contrast is subtle but delightful. The structure of steel paired with the gentle folds of hand-shaped plastic gives each planter its own heartbeat. Raindrops linger on edges like tiny glass pearls, adding a sparkle that feels completely unforced, perfectly imperfect. Then, a wall catches your eye, a vertical garden of color and function, with herbs growing in neat rows. Basil, mint, rosemary, each one thriving inside planters that were stitched, glued, or melted from discarded bags. Some are painted, others bear traces of logos and text, speaking softly of their past lives. Yet here they are, repurposed with care and tucked against warm wooden boards, breathing green into the space. What makes this idea so magical isn't just the sustainability. It's the intimacy. These are projects born from hands, not factories. Each fold, each knot, each hole punched for drainage, holds a bit of someone's time and imagination. And the result? Gardens that feel alive not just with flora, but with story. So if you've ever stood before a pile of plastic bags and thought, there must be something better to do with this, now you know there is. You can give it color. You can give it breath. And with nothing more than a few plants and a little sunshine, you can make your garden whisper its own tale of transformation. Nine, Japanese lanterns from plastic bags. As evening falls and the sun yields to the hush of twilight, a garden transforms. Not with grand expense or elaborate design, but with soft, glowing magic born from the simplest of materials, plastic bags reborn with grace and intention. Here, in the hush of a Zen garden, light unfurls like petals. Each lantern, shaped delicately into lotus blossoms, is crafted from translucent plastic bags, folded with the care of origami and lit from within by quiet flickers of warmth. Set gently along a winding gravel path, the lanterns cast whispers of light over mossy banks and bonsai shadows. There are no filters here, no enhancements, only the purity of handmade peace. And you can feel it, a sense of hush, as though even time walks softer in their glow. Not far away, a bamboo pergola becomes the frame of an evening dream. From its beams dangle lanterns in hues of crimson and parchment white, each one made not from paper, but from carefully layered recycled plastic. They sway lightly in the breeze, alive with quiet radiance. Inside, solar lights flicker like captured fireflies. A wooden bench rests below, and a small tray with tea awaits the touch of hands. There is charm here, but also tradition, a reverent nod to Japanese craftsmanship, reinterpreted with materials that once were waste, now woven into wonder. Then comes the water. A pond, still and mirror-like, holds floating lanterns that drift like thoughts. Some are shaped like flowers in bloom, others like gentle cubes, each resting on painted wood, their bodies lit from within, their reflections doubling the magic across the surface. Around them, koi drift in slow, silent circles. Their scales glint beneath the light, moving poetry. Lush lily pads and rounded stones line the edges, holding the moment steady like punctuation at the end of a quiet sentence. This is not just about beauty. It's a whisper of possibility, of what can be made from what we once discarded. Plastic bags, fused or folded, can become more than waste. They can become lanterns. They can hold light. And if something as humble as that can glow so gracefully, imagine what your hands could do. Perhaps in your own garden, where dusk is waiting to be lit. Vertical garden pockets from heat-fused bags. There's a quiet kind of poetry in turning what was once waste into something that grows, something that feeds, blooms, and beautifies. In corners where concrete once ruled, colors now climb up the wall, stitched and shaped from nothing more than everyday plastic bags, lovingly heat-fused into pockets of potential. In one balcony, the gray of the city is softened by a vertical patchwork of muted plastic pouches. The morning sun kisses droplets resting on mint, basil, and cilantro, each herb growing lush and fragrant from a wall that now lives and breathes. It feels clean, minimalist, yet profoundly alive. These pocket planters, aligned with care, are not just containers. They're chapters of a new story being written right on your wall. Not far off, in a quieter suburb, a rustic wooden fence turns into a vertical veggie garden. A quilt of hand-fused plastic pouches filled with cherry tomatoes, romaine leaves, and bursts of marigolds. It's imperfect, charming, and real. Sunlight pours across the textures of old shopping bags reborn, carrying stories from markets past into a future filled with green. And then, a small patio glows with color and cheer. Pockets made from every hue of plastic you can imagine. Red, green, cobalt, amber, each holding zinnias, daisies, and cheerful petunias. Below, terracotta pots cluster together like family. Above, fairy lights twinkle in the early evening. You can almost hear the laughter of hands that made it, not rushed, but filled with intention. These DIY vertical pockets aren't just a sustainable idea, they're a declaration that you don't need wealth to create beauty. That something as simple as a wall and a few discarded bags can become a vertical garden of abundance, healing, and hope. If you've ever thought your space was too small, too plain, or too urban for a garden, this is your sign. Start with a plastic bag. Shape it, fuse it, fill it, and watch something wonderful grow. DIY fence planter pouches from printed plastic bags. In a quiet corner of an everyday fence, something unexpected is blooming, an orchestra of colors and textures born not from luxury, but from leftover plastic and loving hands. Each pouch you see here was once a discarded bag, forgotten and ordinary. But in this garden, they found a second life, cradling mint, daisies, and rosemary like they were always meant to do so. The beauty isn't just in the blooms, but in the way each bag has been tied with a ribbon. Some polka-dotted, some mismatched, all chosen with care. They sway gently in the breeze, telling their own quiet story, that imperfection is charm, and waste can become wonder. Look closer and you'll see the quirks, the faded prints from supermarket logos, the playful mix of color, and the gentle folds where hands have shaped them into pockets of possibility. There's a kind of joy in that, humble, honest joy. The kind that makes a garden not just a place for plants, but a home for hope. And it's simpler than it seems. You don't need a big yard, or fancy tools, or even a budget. Just some plastic bags, a bit of ribbon, a wall or fence, and the willingness to try. Line them up, fill them with soil and dreams, and watch how even the smallest space begins to breathe with life. This isn't about perfection. It's about love. It's about turning what we throw away into something that gives back. And maybe, just maybe, it's about seeing beauty in the everyday, right there on the fence, where herbs grow beside flowers and trash becomes a treasure in bloom. Outdoor seating cushions covered with plastic bags. In the quiet hours of morning, when sunlight leans gently into the garden, you might come upon a bench that seems to hum with memory. Its cushions aren't store-bought. They weren't stitched in haste. They are woven with intention, with care, with strands of plastic bags once forgotten, now reborn. The first nook feels like a secret whispered by nature. Beneath a bamboo screen, softened by time and shadow, sits a bench cloaked in cushions made from strips of old bags. Greens, earth tones, and sea glass blues, crisscrossing like stories folded into one another. The air is hushed. Ferns spill around the base, and the scent of morning dew clings to every leaf. It's not just a seat, it's a sanctuary, a meditative space, proof that beauty can bloom from waste when touched by mindful hands. Just around the path, laughter lives on a brighter bench. The patchwork pillows pop with childhood nostalgia. Detergent logos, grocery typefaces, and the bold, playful graphics of consumer culture. Red, yellow, cobalt, they shout joyfully against the wood. It feels unapologetically real. You imagine tea cups clinking, someone telling stories as the garden grows around them. This is not a polished showroom corner, it's a lived-in moment. And every thread of that cushion is a story of redemption. Then, tucked among clay pots and lavender bushes, You find 2 chairs that look like they've been patched together from dreams and daring. Each seat is a collage of brand names and bag textures, stitched into seats that are firm with pride. They don't hide what they're made from, they celebrate it. It's rustic. It's clever. It's the sort of upcycled statement that turns heads and hearts at once. And the best part? You can do this too. That pile of bags you once thought were useless, they could become the pattern of your next garden seat. All it takes is heat, stitching, patience, and the belief that even waste can be reimagined into something worth sitting with. So let your garden tell this story, not only of flowers and leaves, but of transformation, comfort, and creativity. In a world that throws so much away, there's something radical about sitting down and resting on something saved. (13) Eco-friendly garden sculptures from layered plastic bags. In the quiet hush of a morning garden, when sunlight dapples the moss and the breeze tiptoes through the branches, something unexpected begins to shimmer. A butterfly, its wings a stained glass swirl of colors, rests midair as if caught between dreams and reality. But this isn't a scene born of nature alone. It's born from human hands, imagination, and what some might discard as waste. Plastic bags, once silent and crumpled, have been given a new voice. They've been transformed into delicate butterfly wings, translucent petals, and even the soft layers of a garden rose that never wilts. Look closer. Each flower sculpted from layered plastic seems to glow from within, catching the light like glass, but moving with the gentleness of wind-kissed leaves. These blossoms don't replace real flowers, they dance beside them. Among marigolds and daisies, they stand as whimsical companions, bold in color, proud in their reuse. Perched nearby on a mossy stump, a bird of recycled blues and reds watches over the scene. It's not just decoration, it's a quiet celebration. A tribute to the idea that art can be made of anything, that even our waste holds potential beauty if we dare to see it differently. And the best part? You can do this too. Cut, layer, twist, and shape. Use a warm iron to gently fuse the plastic if you'd like a more structured form. Secure petals on thin garden stakes, or tie shapes with natural twine. Let them rise among your greenery like joyful secrets waiting to be discovered. No need for perfection. In fact, it's the imperfect layering, the mismatched colors, the soft crinkle in the light. That's where the magic lives. This is not just recycling. It's reclaiming. It's storytelling with plastic and patience, turning what once had no place into something deeply rooted in wonder. In a world that often feels rushed and disposable, these sculptures ask us to pause, to admire, to create, and to remember that beauty doesn't always begin in a shop. It often begins in the palm of your hand, with the smallest intention and the simplest material. (14) Cheap rainproof shade for pergola with plastic bags. There's something quietly revolutionary happening in backyards. It's not loud, and it doesn't demand attention, yet it transforms everything. It begins with something simple. A plastic bag once tossed aside, now reborn as shade, as shelter, as joy. In the first scene, the sun shines brightly over a charming little backyard, but it doesn't scorch, because above, a roof of translucent plastic bags stretches across the wooden beams of a pergola. Each one fused and stitched with care, not to impress but to serve. A soft filter of pastel light dances beneath the canopy, like sunlight through a stained glass window created not by glass, but by everyday resilience. Below, a cheerful row of flower pouches, also made from reused plastic, clings proudly to the fence. They burst with mint, geranium, marigold, a humble gallery of life that thrives in what once was waste. Then, dusk descends gently in the second image, wrapping the garden in golden evening. The same plastic canopy now glows from within, warmed by fairy lights strung like whispers across the beams. Beneath it, seating made from wooden crates and pillows crafted from bright detergent sacks beckons you. The space doesn't shout design, it hums comfort. This isn't just shelter from rain or sun. It's a haven stitched together from memory, from reuse, from love. Here, cups of tea are poured slowly. Conversations stretch out lazily. The night doesn't chase you inside, it invites you to linger. And when the rain comes, as it always does, the canopy rises to the occasion. In the final image, droplets race across the fused plastic, slipping down like tiny rivers. The colors, faded blues, greens, and reds, remain soft and reassuring against the stormy sky. Below, wooden benches stay dry. Plants breathe in the moisture, and somehow, the rain feels like a blessing rather than a disruption. You see, this isn't just about being clever with trash. It's about returning to something real, the act of creating beauty with your own two hands, of rethinking shelter and comfort. Plastic bags, when treated with heat and imagination, become something else entirely. Strong, weatherproof, joyful, and completely unique. To make this yourself, you don't need perfection. Just a few plastic bags, some heat-safe parchment paper, an iron, and a little courage to experiment. Cut, layer, fuse, and stitch. Let the seams show. Let the logos fade into mosaics. Let the floors tell stories. Because in the end, a canopy like this does more than protect. It speaks. It tells the story of a world that can change, not all at once, but piece by piece, bag by bag, garden by garden. And sometimes, in the soft light of a homemade roof, we remember, beauty doesn't have to come new. It can be patched together from yesterday and still feel like tomorrow. (15) Recycled plastic bag wind spinners for tiny yards. In a quiet corner of the garden, joy flutters on the breeze. Look closer, and you'll find more than mere decoration. These aren't store-bought ornaments, but spirited creations, cut and spun from plastic bags once forgotten. They twist like laughter caught in sunlight, a celebration of movement and resourcefulness. The first garden welcomes you with whimsy. From flower beds framed by marigolds and tomatoes, colorful creatures drift on the air. Fish with swirling fins, flowers with radiant petals, and spirals that spin in soft arcs. Their colors are bold: cobalt, cherry, lemon, dancing against the clean lines of raised beds. Each one was once a bag discarded, now reborn into something beautiful. This is not just a display, it's a daily performance, powered by wind, crafted by hand, cherished by heart. Follow a gravel path flanked by blooms and buzzing bees, and you'll come upon another marvel. A line of pinwheels and softly layered orbs swing gently above a sea of daisies. They are made from pastel-tinted bags, soft pinks, spring greens, sky blues. The translucency lets sunlight play through them, casting playful hues onto the petals below. It's like walking through a dream made of color and motion, and the only ticket is imagination and a little care. And then, at the far end, the garden turns oceanic. A coastal theme appears amidst the lavender and succulents, seashells and fish shaped from plastic shimmer in the breeze. These sculptures are more than ornamental. They evoke calm, nostalgia, the sound of waves imagined just beyond the fence. The fish, made from precisely cut and fused plastic strips, seem to swim midair, suspended like hope. Lavender moves softly beneath them. The air smells of sun-warmed herbs and new beginnings. You don't need a vast yard. You don't need a big budget. What you need is willingness to look at what you already have with new eyes. A crinkled plastic bag isn't trash, it's potential. Flattened, trimmed, layered, and shaped, it can become a spinning flower, a butterfly, a fish catching the wind. It becomes a story, one you tell without words, one your garden will whisper each time the breeze comes by. So breathe easy. Let your garden live and play. And if you've got a drawer full of unused bags, you might just be holding the beginning of your next masterpiece. Let the wind find it. Let it fly. (16) Upcycled plastic bag garden fence panels, patchwork privacy walls. In a quiet garden, where sunlight dances gently across leaves and lavender hums with bees, something unexpected catches the eye. Tall panels glowing like stained glass, crafted not from glass at all, but from the forgotten remains of everyday life, plastic bags. These are no ordinary privacy screens. In the first scene, bands of vibrant color, sunset oranges, ocean blues, petal pinks, ripple through layered plastic that has been carefully fused, cut, and mounted to stand upright between garden beds. As the sun pours through, they come alive, casting painterly shadows across soft greenery. It's more than art, it's transformation. What once cluttered drawers or drifted in gutters now becomes poetry in color, speaking of hope, of hands that create instead of discard. Wander a little further and the mood changes. Softer, earthier, grounded in age and warmth. A rustic corner emerges, wrapped in a woven fence made entirely of weathered plastic strips. Here, the art isn't loud, it whispers. Tones of silver gray and muted bark weave through the framework like strands of memory. Potted herbs nestle below, their scent rising with the heat of the day, and a simple bench sits waiting, not as decor, but as invitation. This place isn't just made, it's lived. It's where the morning coffee tastes stronger and silence feels sacred. Then, in another corner of the garden, there's joy. Playful panels, woven from red, green, and white plastics, are patched together into diamond grids and chevron waves. They peek out from between fence slats like a child's quilt held up to the sky. Light filters through, not harshly, but with a soft kindness, scattering across the lavender below like confetti. It's a reminder that upcycling isn't always about hiding. Sometimes it's about celebrating. These aren't privacy fences trying to block the world out. They're invitations to step closer, to see the detail, to be surprised. And the magic lies in how simple these ideas truly are. No elaborate tools, no expensive materials, just time, attention, and a different way of seeing things. Plastic bags, so often blamed for their lifelessness, become vibrant, textural, full of story. If you're watching this and thinking, could I do this? The answer is quietly, joyfully, yes. Start with one panel. Start with one bag. Melt, weave, fold, but most importantly, imagine. Because your garden doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be yours. And sometimes, the most beautiful spaces grow not from money, but from intention. From heart. From hands willing to give waste a second chance and turn it into wonder. If this video meant something to you, please know that subscribing means the world to me. You're not just supporting content, you're supporting a dream that keeps my family going. Thank you, truly. I'd also love to hear from you. What did you enjoy the most? Is there anything I could do better to keep inspiring or simply entertaining you? Your feedback helps this channel grow with heart and purpose. Let me know in the comments. I read everyone.